Father Andre Guérin, OMI, was born in France, 1822, and he did his studies under the founder, St. Eugene and Mazenod, at the seminary in Marseille. And at the time, Father Guérin was being earmarked or shaped for Ireland. Along comes Bishop Ignace Bourget of Montreal, was a very good friend of St. Eugene. And he begged him almost on hands and knees for missionaries for the Canadian North. So in 1841, the founder agreed to send his first oblate missionaries to Canada. That became the nucleus of the connection between Lowell and Canada and Father Guérin. Father Guérin arrived in 1844, and he was immediately sent to the missions in James Bay. There were a lot of Cree Indians, and the Cree Indians, or as the Canadians call them, the First Nations people, the Cree Indians were very, very receptive to the Catholic faith. After several years of that, 1851, he came to Plattsburgh, New York, where he was pastor of St. Peter's Parish in Plattsburgh, New York. It was an oblate parish until 1998, when it was turned over to the diocese. Soon he was transferred to Holy Angels in Buffalo, New York, and it was while he was there that he brought the Grey Nuns of Ottawa to teach in the school. And so all these various assignments helped prepare Father Guérin for what was to come. And as we said earlier, April 18th, 1868 was the beginning of the oblate presence and ministry here in the city of Lowell. Father Guérin and Father Lagier came to do a parish mission. Bishop Williams had come to Lowell to visit the two oblates and to talk to them about a plan that he had. Bishop Williams' plan was to establish a parish for French Canadians in the city of Lowell. So Father Guérin was aware that there was two churches available. One was near St. Patrick's Church, and he said there's a Protestant church on Lee Street in downtown that is abandoned and could probably serve our needs. And so again, a unanimous vote was taken to purchase the Unitarian Universalist Church on Lee Street as a future parish for the French Canadians here in the city of Lowell. And on Sunday, May 3rd, which happened that year to be the Feast of St. Joseph, Father Guérin announced to the French Canadians, "Cette église sera sous le vocable de Saint Joseph." This church is going to be under the patronage of Saint Joseph. An important fact in our life here in Lowell is occurred on November 1st, 1868, when the first oblate community was established here in Lowell. Father Vandenberg, the provincial, named Father Andre Guérin the superior of the Oblates, and Father Joseph Guillard was named associate pastor responsible for the Immaculate Conception parish. Father Lebret was also parochial vicar, but he was responsible for St. Andrew's in North Billerica. That was the nucleus of the oblate community, which grew to about 8 members when they moved into their new rectory in 1879. St. Joseph's Church was the first parish, and it got to be too small, so Father Guérin built the St. Gina Baptist Church to accommodate the larger numbers of French Canadians moving to that part of the city. And so St. Joseph's Church here was like a secondary church or an auxiliary church or a mission church until 1956, when it became St. Joseph the Worker Shrine. During Father Guérin's tenure, which was 26 years, this man was very remarkable. It's really mind-boggling to think that at his age, that he was able to construct 16 institutions, churches and institutions. We rejoice in the fact that, he did so much for us here in the city of Lowell, so much so that the people of Lowell erected a monument to him in front of St. Jean the Baptist Church, which was the culmination of all his efforts here in Lowell. And it has a simple inscription: he went about doing good.
The parish that I belong to is the famous Saint Jean Baptiste. They tell me that at the height of that, there were 60,000 members of that parish living in tenements within, I don't know, a 4 or 5 square block area. And so we had our own school taught in French by nuns. We also had church, upstairs, downstairs, high school. It was a self-contained entity. And everything revolved around the parish, the church, Mass on Sunday, going to the grammar school taught by the nuns, and they would shepherd us into church for Mass on Sunday as well. All the holy days, it was all done in church, the Triduum, all of that stuff. So we were kind of immersed in that Catholic culture, which was Franco-American at that time.
The impact was great because they were in every corner of the city, and they worked very hard helping the parishioners and the Franco-American population of the city of Lowell. And I would say without them, we wouldn't have been as successful as we were.
As culture evolved and French was no longer being taught in the parochial schools, a lot of the French culture, the French language was lost. And so people drifted away. People that lived in the tenements, people that lived in the corporation houses that are in this neighborhood, once they got a few bucks together, then they purchased their own home in more suburban parts of Lowell. And so this mass exodus that was common in a lot of large cities really affected the Oblate ministry in Lowell to the effect that the 6 Oblate parishes that we staffed were eventually all turned over to the Archdiocese, or in fact closed, because of the demographic change and the change in religious practice here in the city of Lowell.
Well, I think very much we piggyback on the shoulders of our predecessors. They've left us an incredible heritage here, and people know us as what we are. We preach, that's what we do. We're people-centered. It's not to say that the diocesan guys aren't, but there's a special charism that we have for that. And as I say, there's still enough remembrance of all the Oblates who came through here, and that'll probably last one more generation. So in that time, we have to build up our own presence. And it can't just be riding on the shoulders of those who came before us. But up to now, it's still that, very much that. And it makes us grateful for what those men did.
It's a very, very impressive story, and how much of the foundation, how much of this city is in debt to the Oblates, and what they've, how they've done to this city, and it continues to this day. I really feel that this shrine is a spiritual heart, maybe not just for Lowell, but for the entire Merrimack Valley. I've heard more than one person refer to it as the heart of the Merrimack Valley, and it really, I think this shrine gives this city a heart and a soul that maybe you can't quite find in other cities that are not as fortunate to have a place such as this. So really, so it continues to this day.
Certainly for the next 25 years, I would foresee this gradual expansion of outreach from here as a hub. So we have to carry the banner for this. And again, we're building on all the good reputation of Oblates who've ever been in this city, any place. And piggybacking off of that, we say from here, how can we do more than just be a shrine?
Adult education, faith formation, youth ministry. There's a lot of wonderful things happening here. This beautiful museum that tells the legacy of faith.
Really a special place, and I think that's the avenue for a lot of people. They see the shrine first, and then they come to know about the Oblates. And God bless the Oblates for being here, and pray that they can be here for a long time.